Morning, everybody. You know what? I was supposed to have some music, but that's all right. Hey, what you got going on? We back. We missed last week. Did you miss us? Chris Allen is here with Issues of Men. We got some issues to talk about, but before we get started, this is Miss B, Positively Miss B. I am the CEO of Storm Talk 365 Radio, faith-based podcast network, where we help you talk to the storms in your life. I'm also the CEO of Storm Radio 24/7, where we talk about business, arts, entertainment, and more. But tonight we're on Storm Talk 365 with Chris Allen, author, model, whole bunch of stuff going on. Hey, Chris.
Good. How you doing this evening, Miss B?
I am so glad to see you. Listen, we've been doing this for a minute, but it may be the first time somebody has joined in, hopefully. Tell them a little bit about you before we get started with Issues of Men.
I am, more people have gotten familiar with calling me author Chris Allen. They think that's my first name, but that is not my first name. It's just something that they seem to fit with in perspective of everything that I'm doing. I'm an author, writer, model, actor. I own a publishing services company and book coach. I wear many hats right now. We talk about mentoring, co-host of two other platforms in addition to Issues of Men.
Tell them about that. I ain't saying. Go ahead on. Plug yourself, bro.
And so we have Tuesday evenings, 7 p.m. We go on EDP 365. That's Everyday People 365, including the Issues of Men on Wednesday evening. And I get invites just on different platforms. But my cousin, Derek Hall, he's Speaking His Mind platform that he has. And they turn out to be very amazing things right now. And just continue to invite everyone to come out to view for the viewerships. And again, a lot of this is really needed based on personal growth. It's also needed when we talk about ourselves individually and also relationships and how we deal with other people based on our perceptions and things of that nature. So this is why this is very important to learn, grow, and then be able to use that information and be better people, not only for yourself, your family, and anyone else who's in your life.
I like that. Anyone else who's in your life. With this COVID-19, it's impacting relationships. We got, people who are already, had lack of income, has no income. People who didn't like each other now hate each other. You got children stuck at home. You got medical issues. It's just a whole lot of stuff going on. And so when we talk about relationships, I want you to understand, females, that this applies to you too. Chris may be looking at it from a male perspective, but I want you to think about some of the things that he's saying and look in the mirror. Is that you? Is he talking about you as well? So it's not gender specific. So that being said, Issues of Men, Chris Allen, author. What are we going to talk about tonight?
Tonight's topic of conversation is restructuring how we choose women.
Wait a minute.
Our women.
Restructuring. What is that all about? Restructuring.
I would just say by nature, I don't know if we were designed to be like that, but it's just what men do. We seem to choose women based on specific characteristics and things that we think from our perception that this is who and how we should choose. And coming to find out after years and years of accumulation of experiences and the men and females that I've talked to, is one of the reasons why this conversation, this topic tonight is very important, and how we are choosing our women. And so we're going to definitely break that down and how men choose women, the good points in it and the errors in it. And I'm going to start off this evening with some generalities, if that's a word.
Generalities is a word. Forgive me if I look like I'm distracted, but I'm trying to share you and it's not letting me, but keep going.
Yeah, I saw something that I couldn't do it either. So when we talk about generalities, okay, for men, again, and I'll probably say this a million times, we are visual creatures. So we talk about good looks, we talk about nice hair, women having nice hair, whether it's natural or weave.
Somebody's had.
Somebody's hair. And we talk about, having the beautiful eyes, the nice chest, nice thighs, nice calves, um, great teeth, great smile, full lips, not full lips, but dimples, high cheekbones, and nice skin tone, not too much makeup or cosmetics, just that perfect touch of blended the two.
You know,
Yeah.
just look at that.
Look at you.
I caught that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
You
know,
know,
right?
the smell goods, the perfume and natural scent, and one thing I could tell you about women, I guess men are catching up, but y'all look like $1,000,000 whether you had it closed for 10 years or you just picked them off a rack from a thrift store, convenience store, whatever. Y'all usually look like $1,000,000 regardless of what you do. We also talk about tattoos, piercings, and different things. So we kind of choose and look at different things that, um, you know, and it is important to have that compatibility, to have that social compatibility with a woman, or being able to have that yourself to become social. And we look at, does she hang out? How often does she hang out? Does she like some of the things that I like? We could talk about, does she smoke cigarettes? She smoke cigars? Does she drink? Um, does she go to church? Does she like sports? Does she like cars? Um, what type of music does she listen to? Does she love to listen to what I like to listen to? Does she like to go to plays? Does she like to go to church? Does she like politics? Um, and those type of things. Um, and so when we get into, having that compatibility as a person, again, it's really, really important. Um, and again, do we have great chemistry? Chemistry is one of the first
Not
lines of,
chemistry. Is there any chemistry at all besides sex? Lord Jesus. Oh, knock them boots, and then what in the world have I got up in here with me? I'm sorry.
is, and is she attracted to you? You know, so it's a lot of different aspects that we kind of take and look at really quick. So for a man, what type of characteristics or what type of visuals, the compatibility, how did that play an important part in building and growing your relationship?
Child, I'm 64 years old. You want me to you want me to go backwards? And today is my wedding
Back
anniversary.
in time.
Wedding anniversary. I am moving it. Well, I've been knowing them for centuries, but anyway, our actual wedding anniversary is today.
Mm.
That's right, 20 years today. I'm so excited.
Congratulations. I'm catching up.
All
I
right.
never be able to catch up, but 20 years is
Well,
great.
you'll be all right. But
Yeah.
actually, let's just look at it from my perspective at 64.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Been there, done that. How would I do it now? And I'm saying this for women. Everything that he touched on, you should be doing the same thing. Because again, you look at all the superficial stuff that he named. I'm not going to go back to that. Oh, um, that's why I said it. I like Chris because he's a model, but eye candy. You got eye candy on both sides, and then what you got? Oh, I like his car, I like his voice. He can sing. He's got a good job. Maybe he can throw me a couple of whatever it is, but there's no chemistry. Talk about the things that have substance. If I were single and looking for that, even at my age, okay, yeah, all the superficial stuff, but is that the only thing that's attracting me? It's
Yes.
before I need to know what's your political stand. How do you feel about grandchildren, great grandchildren? How do you feel about traveling? Do you have your Social Security, IRA, everything in place. I don't want to die, and you're depending on me to take care of you. And if you die, what we got? Is everything tangled up in your old marriage? Do you have anything, with her name still on it? And what about your children? And I'm being honest with you, what about children? Not just in the 30s and 40s, but you got people with children who don't want them to get married, and then they come after the new spouse. Um,
Mhm.
and if everything is left to the new spouse, the children want to contest the will. I mean, is all of that straight? So it's not just about having companionship and the smell goods and rolling around in the bed. It's some serious stuff out there. So I believe that we should not necessarily restructure, but let's have some structure when we consider having a mate.
Mm, I like that. And I think too, as men, it's needed, but I would say that on a superficial level, a lot of times we like, what does she do for a living? And not that we really care initially because, we're really looking, we're after something else in the
The
beginning.
physical stuff
Most
can't
time,
be built.
yeah. And again, we know that that doesn't last long. Um, so what happens after the physical wears off, the chemistry, that allure, that magic wears off, then where do we go? We also look at age differences. Some people don't really care, and again, that's a point that we need to make about. We talk about age differences. Sometimes we grow up in a whole different generation than the person that is looking at us or liking us, or we being attracted to them. It means a world of difference. Again, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, a lot of times we're in different places, and that and it's something when you're in different places. Good evening, how you doing?
I
um
know. It's Sassy Girl.
yeah. And then we have we have men, we have this syndrome of having a woman who really needs us, and we become that knight in shiny armor, and sometimes to our detriment, because um everything that you have, you'll be pouring into her, you know, um, whatever that is, you'll be pouring it into her. And if the relationship ends or there's something that happens or goes on with that, it's like pouring your time, your energy, your emotions, your love. You pouring everything into this cup, and there was a big hole in the bottom of the cup in the beginning, and you have nothing left. It's going to take you many times as long to get back on your feet in every area of your life, um, because of the choices that we make. Um, we look at, does she have a car? Does she drive? Does she have a home, a condo? Does she have an apartment? And, we look at all those type of things, and sometimes by her having it, oh, go ahead, shoot, baby.
I know you're on a roll, but I just want to interject something. When we talked about age,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you can't conquer what you don't confront. And we talk about baggage. A lot of people go into relationships. If the age does not matter, it really does matter. They continually look after younger girls. Um, and that's an issue. But women who look after for older men, they're looking for a father figure. They're looking
Mm-hmm.
for somebody that they didn't have in their life, and they want that stability. They want to be taken care of. Well, on the other hand, I can't speak for men, but it appears that a lot of men who want the younger women, they don't want to accept the fact that they are getting older, and having a younger woman makes them feel more youthful. Um, and then a lot of them love being a sugar daddy. I take care of you, baby. I got
Mm-hmm.
you. You just love me back. Do this. So there's some underlying emotional issues when it comes to age. Doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter, but if
Mm-hmm.
it's to the point where it's a basis for unhealthy relationship, be aware of what you're accepting responsibility for when you have a big age difference. I'm not, my husband is 4 years younger than me, and I'm good with that. So I'm a little cougar. But, we're not talking 14 and
Uh,
20 years different. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
yes.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, it's sad. So I didn't want to leave the age factor until I made that point. But you're right. Continue. They look for cars. They look for materialistic things, and it's not going to last.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to last. And then we look at characteristics. Is she an argumentative person? Is she gullible? Is she refined, classy? Is she outspoken? Is she a free spirit? All those things kind of come into play when we are choosing a woman or initially choosing a woman. Um, we also, and by nature, not saying that every woman is needy, but there's a reciprocation that you have to have with that woman. And a lot of times as men, we dismiss um, the emotional part of her, the part of her being a part of your space and your life, and her feeling secure, her feeling needed, her feeling good about being with you. And I think a lot of times as men, we dismiss those things if you're not in that place to be able to provide that for her. So again, um, this will be a temporary aspect. She will be a temporary aspect in your life. Um, and then we look at um, how many children does she have, and how many relationships does she have? How many baby daddies, has she had? And um, all those things shouldn't be important, but they are important um, to men, and that's something that I think all women need to take account of. And I think as a whole, men and women, we need to be more responsible um, in having or producing children. Again, we had this conversation prior about you're not being able to take care of those children or be a significant figure in their lives or be a support system to where whether that's the male or the female being able to go out and to date and to do whatever that is to find their mate or their match. A lot of men disappear like, mm-mm. If I can't have you, I'm not. I'm not. They call it watching their own kids. How can you watch your own kids? They're yours. You supposed to do that. I don't get that.
Children really should be factored in. Uh, and I'm not saying anything against a woman who has more than one child but different men because there are
Mm-hmm.
extenuating circumstances, and a lot of people do things and they mature. But hypothetically speaking, there are two things that needs to be taken into consideration, whether you're male or female. Like you said, how many baby daddies, how many baby mamas, and how much drama is he bringing into the relationship. And if the baby daddy, baby mama are not accepting responsibility for the children, then that's going to increase your financial responsibilities. That's going to limit your free time because now you're the babysitter every other weekend, and you're the one that's doing the mama daddy role because the other partner is not participating. So I'm really serious about this. The time that we're in, we don't have time to waste and be miserable. Look at these situations before you get into it because your happiness is your choice. And if you choose situations that are warning you, then you can't blame anybody but yourself. So that's just my take on that. I'm sorry. But I had to say that because Yamaja Sasigal said we have been programmed into roles that are unhealthy. And a lot of people,
Unhealthy.
exactly. And a lot of people don't realize that, their relationships, the health of the relationships really starts out in the beginning. And, whether society has something to do with it or not, but, you know, you're programmed to think a half a man is better than no man, a good looking woman is better than an ugly woman. And, maybe the kids will, go away, but they won't. Um, so anyway, I just had to say that. I'm sorry. Keep going, Chris. I know we're on a
Uh,
roll. What time is it?
and no, I was like, and again, those are great points to make. And this is why it's very important for you to speak with the other energy aspect of it as well, and the knowledge and the experience, because again, it needs to be reiterated. And as many that really don't know, they're just living day to day, trying to find and do things. And um, how is that working? um, And as men, we also look at when we choosing our women. Can we take her to work functions? Can she thrive and communicate properly? And when we're away from her, and she's in the midst of a crowd of people and things of that nature, we kind of look for those type of things, and we kind of only bring her into that fold if um, if she's capable of being able to do that. Um, but as well, she only be invited to certain places or certain things if she cannot. So again, this is temporary. And so, what is your take on that, Miss B? How do you feel about that?
We're going back to the eye candy thing, but not only that, communication. If you are not, if you're concerned about how they're going to represent you, um, at certain functions, then you should be concerned about how they represent you at all functions. And if they can't represent you at all functions, then they don't need to represent you. You know, if they, she dresses like a, forgive me, a pole dancer, so you want to take her around the boys, and man, look what she stacked. But when it comes to an office party, you find a relative, just go with me. Don't say nothing, just go with me. And
Mm-hmm.
tell your girlfriend, I'm going to an office party, I'll be back. That's not how that works. I'm a Proverbs 31 Proverbs woman. I'm a woman of faith. I don't make any hesitation of that. But there was a post about what we've evolved from as women, and they showed even in slavery times, in the 30s and 40s and 50s, when we had the opportunity to dress, we exposed as little as possible, and we dressed. Um, and now they want to expose as much as possible and don't care how they dress. So the men, who like to see women like that, they are not going to take them everywhere because it's, you're for this, but you're not for that. And the same thing with a man. If all he wants to do is, sag his pants and, wear inexpensive looking like knockoff shoes and, have the hat turned around backwards. Okay, you can go to the cookout with me, but you're not going to my office party. You ain't representing me. And please don't answer my phone. So that's my take on that. You have to um, take into consideration everything, and not just for certain situations. That's sad. That's really sad.
And Miss B, that's absolutely true. I would say that I'm a camouflage guy because, you know, I have every piece of clothing for any and every all kinds of events, just as who I am as a person. Um, I mean, I have some high end, have some in between, and I have things where we just going to the game, we going to the cookout, we just hanging out. I have all those things, but there's always a flip side to that, based on your personality and who you are, how you communicate. There's a reward and consequence for those type of things. Your behaviors is a reward and consequence in every type of relationship that you have. Um, it's just be well rounded as possible. Um, you know that's how I kind of see it, how I kind of look at it. Um, Not too much one way or the other, but you need to have a little bit of everything in your arsenal, in your closet. Um, and so, we was talking about that aspect of it, and I really believe and think that, um, after having these years of experiences, disappointments, many different things, listen to other people's experiences, what we should be looking for in a woman prior to meeting her and after meeting her is, again, we really have to look at when we meet her, find out a little bit more find out what her last name is first. Who is she? Um,
Rita, who? Wait a minute. It's somewhere with a D. I don't know, but I know her first name is Shaquita, and I think she live on the east side of town. But we only meet at the hotel, and I don't know if she got a car now because she just simply knocks on the door. She may have a job. I don't know, but she go to the canteen by herself, so she got change somewhere. And I think that's a real hair, but I ain't never touched it because we ain't got that far. No, I ain't been in the shower with her because she always go to the shower and be gone by the time I get up. I'm gonna behave. You never miss a week with me. See, I got all this built up now because we weren't here last week. So now I'm just saying.
This is good. This is great. And we need to find out, what her last name is, not what her nickname, what people, her friends call her, and things of that nature. We need to find out a little bit more about um, her history, her family history, the types of relationships, the things that she's been in, um, and we also need to look at, how she treats herself,
Say it again.
not how she treats herself.
Boy, let me tell you something. Men, women, Chris, I'm sorry. I don't know what's wrong with me. I need a blue pill because I'm just yakety yakking.
Now, this is
How
good.
people treat themselves is never going to be better than they treat you. You know why? Because a lot of them perpetrate.
Mm,
They don't treat themselves no kind of good, but they go, oh, baby, let me get this for you. Oh, baby, let me get this for you. Oh, no problem. Let me pay this for you. Oh, let me open this door for you. Oh, you got a bill too? Let me do that. And then you find out they're 3 months behind in everything that they got.
and you know what's
Last
coming
time,
next? Rescue me.
so what I'm saying is, pay attention. He did say that. Pay attention to how they treat themselves. If you see, let me just do this from a woman's point of view. If you
Mm-hmm.
see a man whose um, fingernails are clean, not necessarily professionally manicured, if you see him maybe not going longer than 3 weeks without a haircut, if you see that every time you see him, his clothes at least a different set, there's a certain type of warning that you have. And if they're not going to take care of themselves, then they're not going to care about you taking care of yourself. And it
Absolutely.
may become a part of disagreement. Why you got to change clothes all the time? Why you got, because you don't do it don't mean I don't want to do it. And
Right.
that's some serious stuff. People be like, really hating on you if you want to. Why you got to go to the beauty parlor? I don't go get my hair cut every 3 weeks. What's up with that? Seriously,
Problems.
I'm serious.
And we also did take into consideration her interactions with her parents, her families, her friends, her associates. Because trust me, it's going to come. It's going to circle around and come at you sooner or later. And again, I think we talked about how she was raised, what type of household did she grow up in, what type of relationships is she seeing. Um, we have to look at we really have to look at what she does for a living. If she's a student, she's in the military, does she travel a lot, um, and a lot of this stuff will determine um, kind of who she is or how she's going to play or be a part of your life or she's not going to be a part of your life. Um, we talked about earlier, does she drive? Are you going to be a chauffeur
Back
for
that up.
her?
Mm-mm. Does she what?
Does she drive?
Child, it ain't even about driving. She may have a license, but expect you to take her everywhere. Yeah, I got
Mm-hmm.
a license. Yeah. Where you caught? My mama was gonna give me one, but my daddy wouldn't let her. And then when I finally got one, it needed an engine, and my brother wouldn't pay for it. And then so can I try yours?
And it's coming. Um, I've been there, done that. Um, as much as it hurt me to say no, but some things are just not for everybody. Something you have to earn that. You have to earn that respect before you drive my car per se. See, I have a stick. A lot of women don't know how to drive manual sticks. So,
Let me tell you, Susan Trooper.
so
I even got trained to drive for Burlington Motors. I was gonna be a female trainer on the East Coast, so I love me some trucks. Give me some
mm,
stick, and I love backing up. How many women even know what a clutch is? For real,
mm,
for real. Gonna burnt your mess up.
mm-hmm. Tow it up before you ain't had it a month, 2 months.
I'm
You
sorry. I'll be quiet.
um, it's so you talk about does she have her own place? Does she live with anybody? And if not, why? You look at you should be looking at the type of friends that she has. You know, look at the type of friends that she has. Who are they? Are they positive? Are they negative? Are they, you know, you have to look at those things. Um, is she a spender, or does she love to, or does she like to save, or does she does a little bit in between? Um, is she a sailor? Does she consistently curse a lot? Um, is she disrespectful? Miss Beaver, what's your comment on that? How do you feel about women who are sailors? Or not even feel about them, but what does that represent um, to you from a female aspect?
Okay, I'm gonna be nice and say from a female aspect, and this is just my personal opinion, and it has no value to anybody but me. Um, been there, done that. Let me tell you
Mm-hmm.
my experience with profanity. My family, my relatives, by birth, profanity for some of them was their second language. I never
Mm-hmm.
liked it, but I wanted to fit in, so I tried it. I didn't even know how to curse.
Yeah,
Once I
it's an art to it.
got all out of place, didn't have the right emphasis, whatever. My point is sometimes we associate our relationships by simulating their behavior from children on up, and then becomes a learned pattern of speech. I think for females who have every other word that's not clean, there's some underlying issues, and I don't judge them. I don't like to see them do that, but a woman who feels the need, anybody, but right now we talk about women, because a lot of women don't realize it's considered disrespectful. A lot of women don't realize that they can communicate without talking like other people and fitting in and being like others. So I
Absolutely.
don't think it's something that we should be proud of, in my opinion.
And you're absolutely right. If you do it, okay, you know, but um, just know it's coming at you sooner or later. You know, again, you know, we have to look at what religion or spiritual belief system that she has. You know, look at, you know, her culture, where she's from. You know, is she from the U.S.? Is she from another country? We have to take all these things into consideration because a lot of times, you know, if you're not cultured or been a part of knowing a lot about other cultures and different things of that nature, um, you got to come up to speed really quick because it's not what we do here in the United States. So again, that's very important. And basically, when you talk, I mentioned just a second ago about the religious and spiritual belief system she has. How important do you think that plays in um, having a mate or acquiring one?
Well, son, I'm gonna be honest with you. Um, it's more important than anything at all. It's more that is the most important level of communication that you need to establish and understand. Because to make it short, Satan wants to steal, kill, and destroy, and that includes families, relationships, and he will use that to separate you all. I'm a Baptist, he's a Muslim. I'm a Catholic, he's Jew. Anything that does not come in agreement, he will use to separate you all. And I don't care
Mm-hmm.
how well you get along in the bed and your finances on point. That is the main thing that he will use against you. And so please take the time. If you don't discover anything else about somebody, find out what they believe in, because it's going to come a time where you're going to say, well, pray with me. Pray. What are you talking about? Go to church with me. Go to synagogue with me. Go to the hall with me. Go. Where that come from? I didn't know you did all of that. And then it's like, you mean you don't? No, I ain't got no use for none of that. And then so everything that you've established, um, and even to the point of something should happen to you, A lot of belief systems don't believe in blood transfusions. They don't believe in cremations. They don't believe it. There's a lot of things different belief systems don't share, and so then you're stuck not only in a relationship but actually married, and then you can't make any decisions because they don't have the same faith. So
Mm.
I think before anything else, you should discuss, if something happened to me, are you going to cremate me? Can I have a blood transfusion? Do you believe in, having life support and not? Those things are very important, and they're part of your faith.
But very strong, very great points. Um, and then we also we have to figure, what are her dreams, her goals, her aspirations. Um, where do you fit in all this? You meet somebody, you have great chemistry, um, things are going well, and she's like, "Okay, I'm going out of the country for the next year, 2 years." How you going to handle that?
Mm.
Where do you fit in the long term, short term and long term aspect of meeting or getting into a relationship with someone? A lot of people will not tell you until it's quote unquote um, the deadline. They won't tell you out front because if they're initially afraid that they're going to lose you, but they'll tell you after you have invested your time and you invested into that person. So again, you have to find out where you fit in the whole scheme of things. We need to understand what makes her tick, what makes her happy, what makes her sad, what makes her who she is. Um, Again, we got to look at, does she make more money than you? Because a lot of men have a lot of issues with a woman making more money than he does.
We talked about that earlier, didn't we, Chris? Make that
Yes,
money, boo. Let's just pay these bills down. We about it. I don't care who make the most. Let's put it together, make it happen. You know what I'm
let's get
saying?
it.
Ain't no stranger to no dollar. I'm
Mm-mm. And again, people, I think men have to really put that down, and it's actually a great thing. Um, and again, we have to look at, does she really need you? We kind of look at as, um, we're the catch, we're this, we're X, Y, and Z, but we never even consider the fact that, again, you could be temporary. You could just be in a space to fill a void, fill some time. She's looking at you as something to do, entertainment. Does she need you? Is she a user? Is she a giver? Um, does she have balance? Does she reciprocate? You know, what you do for her on a mutual basis. Um, and again, we also to look at, is there an emotional, is there a spiritual connection? We talked about physical connection earlier. Um, and how often do you argue over small things? Nothing has to do with nothing. Your relationship is going to be temporary, and not unless you're addicted to drama. And I've stepped away from that from a long time ago. Matter of fact, a lot of women, before I met my wife, they would eventually run away because I'm not, listen, I'm not arguing with you.
Speaking of argument, this has nothing to do with that, but yes, it does. There are two things. We talked about makeup sex doesn't always work. But the second thing I wanted to say is, let me tell you, a lot of women and a lot of men are very insecure. If you don't argue back with them, they feel that you're disrespecting them and don't care. I just read an article where a woman actually shot her boyfriend because he would not argue with her. Oh,
Mm.
you want to shut me out? You'd ignore me? People, domestic violence goes both ways. Don't ignore the signs when people are constantly snapping off at the least little thing, and before you know it, you realize you're in a domestic abusive relationship. If they don't want you and they don't respect you, don't say, "Oh, but she good in bed. Oh, but he looks so good. Oh, but I like the paycheck." That's domestic violence right there. I'm sorry, I just had to put that out there.
And when you know situations, you're enabling that other person, because they're dangling carrots over your head, or you're willing to take the abuse because you don't have anywhere else to go. You don't have the financial background or education or whatever that is to maintain and hold on your own. And again, that can lead to a very deadly and detrimental situation in your life. And we have to look at, is she forgiving? Does she hold grudges? Um, because your relationship is definitely not going to be peaceful if nothing's perfect. But if she holds grudges, she's not going to be she's going to be a miserable person, and misery loves company. But all that's going to be poured into your lap sooner or later. Um, and again, I see this happen so much, family. Um, if you don't agree with her, if you say no to her, you become her enemy. She starts treating you badly or disrespectful. If she doesn't get her way, things of that nature, temper tantrums and things like that. Again, we have to look at these red flags early on in how we choose and pick our women. Um, I know we have good days and bad days, but there still is a way that you can express yourself without um, being hurtful, disrespectful to other people, especially somebody you claim you care about, somebody you claim you love, and it's not caring, it's not love at all. Um, and I think another very important aspect, Miss B, and viewers, please tell me, when you have someone whose family, friends, opinion about your relationship is more important than yours in the relationship, that's an issue and that's a problem. Because they can steer you one way or the other. Don't really know what's going on in your relationship outside of one perspective that you're being told. You don't know the other side for one, and it's really not anybody else's business. We're supposed to be handling um, our relationship and our relationship and what's going on in it. Um, but I've been in some situations where people's family and friends' opinions and influence um, played a major role in how the relationship developed, and ultimately it's in. So that's something else that we have to take in consideration. Has that affected you in any way in your relationship in your life?
Not personally, but I'm gonna be honest with you. There has been some relationships between family members and others that the family was concerned about. Um, and I believe the input could go both ways. Let me just say this. If the person involved in an unhealthy, out of order relationship is not acknowledging that the relationship has issues and that people on the outside are really trying to help, the help has to be done in a way that is received. If it's nagging and just trying to be controlling, then you're just going to make that person want to stay and give the abusive person more power. But on the other hand, nobody can find out anything about your relationship if you don't tell them.
Right.
So, regardless of opinions, if you don't give them anything to have an opinion on, then they can't interfere. So, my main comment to
Good
that
point.
is they can't mess with what they don't know anything about. Stop telling all your business. If you don't want them to help you, then don't tell them anything. If you don't want them to nag you, don't tell them anything. Handle your business. But once you put it out there, you get what you get.
Public domain.
Duh. If you want help or you don't. Because you know folks they're gonna talk. So and they can't unhear stuff. If you tell them one your husband's still doing such and such, and she still that was 3 years ago. I know, but I'm just saying, if they still doing that mess, if you still hanging, but that was three years ago. See, that's what I'm saying. 3 years, 3 days, and 3 hours, they're gonna still be like, is they still like that? They still doing that? I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell them no.
And yeah, they be holding grudges, and it could have just been what I
Dog
can't
food.
express it,
They
but
was eating pork, and they said, "See, he eating that pork. Why you hanging around that pork eating food?" Something as simple as that. You see what I'm saying? If you don't tell nobody, that won't nobody be in your stuff. Just say,
That is something, and sometimes when it's needed, of course, in a negative situation, um, positive support and feedback is welcome. But when you have somebody who is miserable, when you're getting information, when you're trying to get support, um, positive energy or um, wisdom and knowledge from a miserable person, it doesn't only work out that great because they're going to give you the worst as opposed to the best advice. Um, and so I was like, yeah, again, that's where I was coming from with that. And you made some excellent points in regards to, um, the flip side of that. Um, and the three more things really quick before we get to our final thoughts is that um, over the period of time, I had to come to the understanding of, does she really have your back? Is she really in love with you? Or, you know, you're just fine, you're comfortable with being a convenience. So, man, you definitely have to ask yourself that along this journey um, with being in a relationship with a woman. Um, and again, I go back to say for each other, we say that's supposed to have your back. Um, when we talk about, we have to find out, what moves that woman. And from the woman's perspective, what moves that man, what drives him. Do you have what it takes to be a helpmate or a support system for them in a positive way? Not um, enabling them to, in a negative aspect, but do you have what it takes to um, support them in a positive way, so that they'll be able to pick up and learn um, from what you're doing as opposed to having to be a negative or animosity type of situation. Um, and a lot of men, again, we like, does she cook? Does she clean? Um, does she bathe regularly? There's a lot of things that you'll find out about somebody, um, you know, where you spend time with them. And some people don't care, but it, a lot of those things are important to me. I know I can do all of those on my own, but it does help to have a helpmate who's willing to go 50-50 or 100-100 with you when needed.
I like that. 100, 100, 100, 100.
Mm-hmm. 100-100.
All right. What else? You finished? What else we got going on?
So what I want to do right now, Miss B, is I would like to give you your final thoughts on this evening's show, and I'll share just a couple of mine really quick. And then also, after we finish that, I would like you to give an encouraging word for this evening. Yes, yes,
Okay. Give your final
yes.
thoughts. Go ahead.
Um, just from my perspective and my experience, and I always say that so people won't say, no, 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 that ain't. You must meet the person at the right time. You could be the greatest person on the planet, but if you meet that person at the wrong time, it's usually a no-win situation when you deal in relationships. So I really feel that somehow, some way, I don't know, through prayer, through affirmations, through confirmation, your mind, heart, your experiences, you have to meet that person at the right time to have the right outcome in your relationship. Um, take your time in accessing. If you're rushing to fill a void, if you just rushing into being in a relationship because of sex, finances, why are you doing this? Why are you getting into this relationship? Compatibility is very important. Um, your relationship definitely will last a lot longer if there's a lot of things that you like to do better, if she's willing to learn things that she's never done before, and vice versa. Um, you can't build a relationship or a family or physical attraction, and that's very important. So people talk about somebody got the gray eyes, the green eyes, the hazel and purple and whatever else. They got good hair. It doesn't always create a good family structure or a great relationship. One of my favorite is that you have to be open and clear about your intentions with her, whether it's temporary, even on a temporary basis, it could grow, or whether you're looking for a permanent relationship. Um, and fellas, we have to get out of the place of women being a convenience. When I talk about convenience, everything's at on your time, your disposal, and what ends up happening, again, if you don't reciprocate, is it brings animosity, it brings hatred, it brings disappointment, it brings a lot of things when things not reciprocated. So don't just look at her as being a convenience for you. And my last thing is that um, every friendship that you have is not going to lead to a relationship, a marriage, or a life partner. And it's okay. It's okay.
It's okay to be friends.
Absolutely. And your final thought, Miss B?
Well, my final thought is well done. But my final thought on the topic, you said restructuring. I believe you should go into a relationship with structure already.
Mm,
First and foremost, find out what the intentions are. And if you have your own motives, let them know. Look, I'm moving out of town in the next couple of months. I'm not promising anything. And, if they're spending time with you, be upfront with people. So, um, but first and foremost, where are they spiritually? Because everything that he talked about tonight goes back to your spiritual mindset. And if you don't communicate on a spiritual level, everything else is going to fall apart. I know it sounds corny, but it's really true. Um, so that's my final thought. Don't be so superficial and selfish and thinking, you can overlook the signs of negativity and it'll be okay. And it's not. It's just like, you got a loaf of bread and it's molded. And every other slice is molded. Just because you can't see the brown, blue, or gray doesn't mean it's spoiled. You're just peeling back layers, and the whole loaf should be thrown away. So that's my final thought. Please don't be so superficial that you forget to look into the important things. And most importantly, where are you spiritually? And I thank you for offering me the opportunity to give a word of encouragement to your listeners, Chris. Um, my word of encouragement is not necessarily about relationships, instruction, or restructuring relationships. Right now, we're in a terrible time globally. Um, whether you believe COVID-19 is real, whether you believe it's man made, whether you believe it's a conspiracy, it's a setup, I'm not here to talk about what you believe. What I'm here to do is to encourage you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. And with that being said, this evening, we're going to go ahead and close out tonight's show. Um, Next week's episode is episode 7. Is fighting for your rights to have access to your children and repurposing um, your life and repurposing their lives as well. Um, I may do a different topic, so I can't promise you that I'm going to follow through with this. Maybe I'm going to put this to the back burner for a second, but I definitely will have another topic for you this weekend. There's so many things that have been happening and going on. So much information that's been shared with me. Um, and so, what I want to say to this evening is good evening. And again, if you want to become a guest on the show or present a topic for the show, please email me at issuesofmen@gmail.com. In the subject box, just place that information in there. And also just talk about the name or topic of it. And just give me a small summary of what you would like to have me talk about on the show. And I'll definitely consider it. And if you're considered, I would definitely share that information with you or be able to, I'm happy to come on the show as well. To find our shows of Issues of Men, www.stormtalk365radio.com. You will also find on YouTube Issues of Men. And again, if you would like to contact me just to reach out to talk, you can email me at issuesofmen@gmail.com. And then if you're also looking to find out more about me as an author, my books and things of that nature, go to authorchrisallen.com. And with that being said, Miss B.
I apologize. That was a blue pill moment. I
It's
thought
okay.
my computer was plugged in, but you need to plug it into the outlet and not just the computer. But that being said, everybody, this is Miss B. I am Positively Miss B. You can find me at www.stormtalk365radio.com and stormradio247.com. And I look forward to you joining us again every Wednesday, 7 p.m. East Coast time with author Chris Allen, Issues of Men. And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to give a word of encouragement, even though it was cut off. You know, the devil has a way of cutting you off right in the middle of something important. You know what I'm saying? That's never happened before. But anyway, stay encouraged, everybody. Just survive the issues and don't let the issues take control of you. All right, everybody. Have a blessed night.
We love you. See you next week.
All right, baby. Take care.
Take
Hold
care.
on.